Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back in another video, and coming into Season 5, DC's Legends of Tomorrow is in a tough position, whereas all the other Arrowverse shows were able to start their seasons before diving right into the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. Legends had to launch its season out of it, but the writers took what could have been a problem and turned it into they just made it work. But they used the crossover to add some emotional weight to the Season 5 opener, Meet the Legends. So the mockumentary-styled premiere is very playful and silly. As you can see, the stuff that's going on right now, it's going through all the different characters and like how they're being introduced in the documentary, and just this part here. I mean, this like the Legends are famous now, so they're getting a documentary. And just look at Mona with these Bebos. This is disturbing and weird, but also slightly sexy at the same time. So I mean, I'm cool with it. But this whole documentary type thing that they're doing for this is a really interesting concept, and I like what they're doing with it because it really fits the show's tone. And plus, like I said, the Legends are famous now, and I like the way that they act, because they think that they're famous now, so they want the spotlight and, all that good stuff. And actually here is our new character, which I'll get into in a little bit. But beneath the sight gags and meta humor, there's a really strong and sincere emotional story that's blown me away with this. In other words, it's a classic Legends episode, and probably one of the best Legends episodes in a while. Although Crisis eventually does impact the premiere, Meet the Legends is a bit more concerned with the fallout of the Season 4 finale. After publicly defeating Neron at Hayworld, the Legends are now famous, like I mentioned, and they're hanging out with the Obamas at games, presenting at the Oscars, and starring in commercials. Also doing nude photo shoots with Bebo, apparently. So Legends Mania is sweeping the country, and unfortunately not everyone is enthusiastic about them, specifically Senator Wellington, who doesn't trust these screw-ups with time travel. In the interest of transparency, Ava and the Legends invite a documentary crew onto the Wave Rider without telling Sarah, Ray, and Mick, all three of whom were off dealing with the crossover. So this format that they're using for this episode brings with it a lot of funny bits, because there's Nate dressed like a stuffy professor, rambling on about skipping the crossover and briefly dying in the Season 4 finale. He's like, I was dead for a whole 2 minutes, man. Mona, who is now Mick/Rebecca Silver's book agent, wolfing out in the middle of a negotiation, and Bayrod, our new character, who's Zari's brother, who replaced her on the Wave Rider, and he visited Baby himself on his birthday. On the day he was born, he went to see the birth of himself, which was kind of weird, but at the same time pretty funny. So clearly the Legends are enjoying their newfound fame. But guess who isn't? Sarah. Our favorite captain, paragon of honor. No, not honor. I don't know which I know she's a paragon of something. Let me know in the comments if you remember what paragon she is. But she is clearly carrying a lot emotionally, and is far from pleased when she returns to the Wave Rider to find a bunch of cameras there. Now, this is the last thing she wants to deal with after what happened in the crossover, and Ava tells the Legends not to bring up the crossover because she doesn't want to upset her with, Oliver and all that stuff. But to make matters worse, Rasputin, one of the historical baddies Astra released from Hell, comes back to life, which causes a timequake, and the Legends force Sarah to bring the documentary crew with them as they travel to 1917 St. Petersburg. So hoping to steal more of the spotlight, Nate, Ray, Ava, Mick, and Mona each come up with hilariously ridiculous ways to deal with Rasputin. Nate and Ray want to just talk him out of seeking revenge. Ava and Mick simply want to kill him. And Mona thinks a love letter from Sarzina would fix things. Oh yeah, that would definitely work. And it's a very silly and very Legends thing that they're doing here. And Rasputin ends up killing the man who assassinated him. But Nate tries to reason with him, one resurrected bro to another. But during their chat, though, Rasputin senses that Nate lost someone he loved around the time of his resurrection, which is the first step toward Nate realizing Zari's absence, because none of them know that happened, because when Zari changed the timeline to bring Nate back to life, it changed the timeline, so it's like everything that happened before never happened, and that Zari's brother was just there the whole time, and that nobody knows who Zari actually is. But I like that this episode touched on how Nate is feeling about after briefly dying. And it's mostly played for human, but there are moments like this one where there's some real emotion to it, because what happened was traumatic in a way. I mean, he died. That's pretty traumatic. But their bro time, though, is interrupted by Ava, who shoots Rasputin. Unfortunately, the dude can't die because part of his soul is still in hell. So there's a lot of commotion, and the Legends barely make it out of there. Once again, Sarah is pissed off with her friends. Not only did they disobey orders and almost die, but they've become so obsessed with this documentary that none of them are bothered to check in and ask how she's doing. So Sarah, of course, is still traumatized from the crisis and Oliver's death, and she would love nothing more than to talk about it with her friends, but she can't because they're too busy mugging for the camera. So she just wants somebody to talk to, and this is the part of the episode, part of what makes Legends so special. Like, episodes can have these very silly premises, like the documentary thing, but then the script will hit you with an emotional scene like this that knocks your socks off when there being any tonal whiplash. In fact, it's moments like these that really bring this show together. Like, some people, they don't like this show because it's so silly and ridiculous. But these are the things that can these are the types of things that can bring together everyone. And you can see the emotional journey for all these characters. But anyway, Rasputin, who loves the camera, ends up kidnapping Kevin Harris, the documentary's director, and declares that he plans on killing the royal family. So, annoyed with almost everyone on the ship, Sarah recruits Behrad to help her stop this from happening, because he's the only one that's actually been there and talking to her about Oliver and the crisis, because I don't know. But something I'd like to mention about Behrad, I actually like this because, usually on shows like this, when they do like a switch and they have a character on here, and then like at some point they're gonna leave the show and then they're gonna get replaced by whoever it was before, like in this case Zari will come back and Behrad will probably leave the show, but usually they're portrayed as like a douchebag, so then it's like you don't care that they're leaving and you want Zari back. But I actually like Behrad. I kind of like him more than Zari, honestly. But it would be kind of cool to have both of them on the team, so hopefully that happens at some point, maybe. Like I said, Behrad and Sarah go to stop this from happening, and that doesn't stop the rest of the Legends from following after her and backing her up out in the field. So Sarah and Ava end up getting back on good terms while fighting Rasputin's goons, since nothing they do will kill him. They try a very Legends plan. So Sarah throws a shrunken and unconscious Ray into Rasputin's mouth, and then tells Ray to grow or embiggen, once he regains consciousness, which of course causes the Mystic Dude to explode everywhere. Blood everywhere, guts, Rasputin. Well, he went splat and splish splash like all over the place, all over everybody. So that's nasty, but whatever. And with Rasputin handled, it's time for the Legends to get back to their roots. At the documentary's premiere, the Legends decide to debunk time travel so that they can go back to working in, private or secret or whatever. So once they get back on the Wave Rider, though, Nate and Behrad get to work fixing Gideon, who's having trouble processing data from 2 different timelines. And in the process, Nate discovers both footage of the moment Behrad took Zari's place at Hayworld and a goodbye message from Zari in which she says she loves Nate and asks him to find her. Unfortunately, Nate has no idea who she is, so that's kind of, a little bit of a problem. Also, Constantine comes back on the ship and tells everybody, everybody's been released from hell and, all that stuff. So Mick read the love letter that Mona wrote that she was going to give to Rasputin, and he's really impressed by the love letter that she wrote. So Mick decides to pass the Rebecca Silver mantle on to Mona, who actually ends up deciding to leave the ship and focus on writing. So not only is Mick not Rebecca Silver anymore, Mona is Rebecca Silver, and she left the ship. So I kind of like this because I never really got into the whole Rebecca Silver writing thing with Mick. Like, he even said, the reason he's doing it is because he doesn't have enough time for stealing. And that's what I want him to get back to doing. I want him to go back into his roots of being a criminal. Not being a villain, but, stealing stuff. And Mona, she's still going to be part of the show. We know that she's going to be a recurring character. So she's not going to be in every episode. She's not going to be a part of the actual Legends team. But she will appear here and there. Also, at the beginning of the episode, actually, Charlie, she just left the ship. She took one of the pods or extra ships or whatever and just flew off for a joyride or something. So, she's probably coming back. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure she is. So yeah, she wasn't really in this episode. No, that is pretty much everything that happened in this episode. Like I said, this is probably one of the best Legends episodes in a while, because it really balanced out the kooky and silly Legends feel with the actual emotion, heartfelt scenes. So I like it when they get that nice balance in there, because then you can please fans that like one side of it and the other side of it. So you can please more people at once, and it's just good to have a balance. If you have too much of one thing, then it's not going to work out very well. So yeah, anyway, what did you guys think about this whole episode, and what are you looking forward to in the rest of the season, or, with Zari and her brother, or, with Constantine and all that stuff, the demons and spirits being released from hell, all the evil meanies getting released, or, so just let me know what you're looking forward to in this season. So I'm definitely looking forward to all that, and like I said, I hope that when they get Zari back, because that's pretty much inevitable, that Zari and her brother both are part of the Legends team. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video, so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.